Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks Testserver 9.21 review video. Today we'll have a look at the AMX 65t, the new tier 8 heavy tank of the French heavy tank line. And well, it's quite an oddball, especially the turret is really odd. But well, we'll have a short look at the stats, we'll have a look at how expensive it is to get it through with experience, we'll have a look at the damage model and a short game to show you how this tank performs. So, the first thing you will need to have is 62,500 experience you can get on the AMX M4. Obviously you need to get the 90mm gun for that, but you will most likely have it as it is not mandatory on the R44, but really a good thing to have. After that, you will have the tank in your garage with, let's have a look, with the 90mm gun and the stock turret. And the stock turret, many people, or I think quite some people, will know this turret from another tank, and yes, you are right, it's the same turret as the one of the Liberty. It really is just being copy-pasted onto that tank. I don't really have a big problem with that because, or what's the big catch on that thing? The turret is actually in some terms better than the top turret as it has 10 degrees of gun depression, not 8. Otherwise, if you already played the autoloader line, you will most likely have the 100mm SA-47 gun, which you sadly can't equip because you will need to have obviously, either you don't have the big engine, which I am really saying you should probably get that thing because it's actually pretty darn good. We'll most likely have this engine. Then you can say, oh well, I want to get a gun, but you can't mount it. The first thing you need to mount is for 16,600 XP, the tracks. After the tracks, you can mount the 100mm SA-47 gun. So what happened now? Now you basically have an Liberty. It's legit the same, almost. Just the Liberty has a much better hull armor. But in return, you have better DPM. But on the other hand, you have worse HP to ton ratio and worse mobility, as this tank, in my opinion, has quite bad soft stats. And yeah, it feels rather sluggish. So the next thing you will do, I guess, or in my opinion, is to get either the big turret, because you want to have the spicy wonky turret, and then you will most likely go to the injection de essence Maybach motor, which gives you a big boost in your speed. What happens now is another question. You can keep that gun, you can have the turret, and well, then you can either go directly to the AMX M4 MLE 51, which is 151,700 experience, or you can go to the 120mm gun. And just a little heads up, I think this is the only tank you should actually consider getting the big gun. And this is because the big gun is simply cool. It has not good aim time, it has meh accuracy, it has meh AP penetration, but by God, 325mm of APCR penetration is simply a no-skill press to win button in the end. Because that's what you will do. You will just press this button and try to wreck some faces. Legit, you don't do anything else. This gun is purely there to do 400 damage, have a better DPM than a T-34, and have 325mm of APCR penetration. It's an incredible value. But yeah, now you can say either you go for the 100mm SA-47 gun, which is overall a bit better in my opinion. It has better DPM, it has better soft stats, I guess, just also better normal AP penetration. But yeah, we are now assuming that we have the 120mm gun as the gameplay suggests. A DPM of 2100, 0.33 accuracy is pretty darn neat. And yeah, the rate of fire, yes, could be better, 11.3 seconds. It's better than the one on the D34, but it still feels a little bit lackluster. 1,550 hit points is a decent amount. Hull armor 100mm is garbage. Turret armor 250mm is actually pretty darn good. So now have a look at the armor model of this tank. Again, the hull is super weak. I played against an enemy AMX 65t and nothing, like legit nothing. I played with the 100mm gun and simply penetrated his upper front plate every single time. For that, you have super weak side armor, 60mm or 80mm respectively. And that's it. What does the turret offer at least? A cupola which is 160mm thick, which is huge. Another cupola which is 130mm thick, and it's not so huge. And 220 to 250 or 170mm of armor. Sure, you can go down to 8 degrees of gun depression, and this is like the most important thing I would even say, that you use your gun depression with this tank. Because then you will get quite a strong tank. 220mm of effective armor on your cupola is roughly that what on average tier 8 heavies have. The turret will then get rather strong because the cupolas get smaller and smaller, and you should be able to hide your hull. Otherwise, the tank's armor is simply not good. The side armor can even be penetrated by a T49, and it will hurt massively. But you can also stay with the stock turret, and then you will obviously only have the 100mm gun. And then you have a Liberty. It's simple as that. The turret is strong, don't get me wrong. The Liberty turret is strong, just this cupola is immensely annoying. 60mm of armor is just simply not making the cut. Anyway, back to the tank. I already talked about the mobility. I think you should get the big engine because then this tank gets quite maneuverable, which is like the gimmick or the feature of this line. And one last thing, I highly recommend to get a Brothers in Arms crew and a crew, because you have a radio operator and the commander, to skill the crew on view range, to get both view range skills, because with optics you will have on tier 8 450 meters of view range, as you can see here, which is an absolutely phenomenal value. Really, this is my personal suggestion, that you go for that 445 meters of view range. Anyway, I guess it is time we go into the gameplay. So this is our game, a tier 10 game on the map Airfield, and as you can see, this is the top engine. The tank might need some time to accelerate. Around 30 kilometers per hour, it's not too bad, but you expect a little bit more, in my opinion. Especially when you have 1100 horsepower. But this game will be quite interesting. Again, this is like the only tank I really recommend getting the big gun, because solely because of the 325mm of APCR penetration, because it is such a great thing to bap some type 4 or type 5 heavies with APCR through their front. And it's quite the strong ammunition type if you think about it. Again, I think it's one of the only tier 8 tanks which have above 300mm of premium around penetration. So what I'm doing right now here is staying, the gun is absolutely huge. Staying here, waiting for the T-54 lightweight to show himself and, well, using our hull down. The tank is rather high, and I think that's why you think you have more than 8 degrees of gun depression, but you only have 8, which is actually kind of sad. 10 would be much better, but in return you can have this big gun, and the cupola is not as ridiculous weak as on the Liberty turret. Otherwise, we will stay here for a little bit. We have also now team kills in our team, so that's a little bit fairer. And you can see 2 nice little shots for 755 damage. Sadly, not really our average. And now I went to go back and reload some APCR, because gosh dang do I hate type 5 heavies. He went immediately, obviously, for the potential one shot, and I aim for his weak spot with APCR. We get a nice little shot in, 350, but in return we get 602 no skilled damage into our... Yeah, I don't even know. I guess it was the turret. I simply don't know. I didn't even see where he hit me. But he is standing beautifully for me. I am directly aiming into this flat surface with the APCR. We have no problem penetrating that shit. Excuse me for language. Right now we are also waiting for one of the Type 5 heavies or for our TDs to finish him off, and we'll hope that we can do some more damage. We need to watch out. He made a shot, which is nice, and can we get the kill? Aimed at the weak spot. Sadly, the T-57 heavy stole us the kill with his heat. Again, Testserver in general is heat or HE galore. I still have an APCR round loaded. I made a nice little snapshot. The tank is fairly accurate on the move, which is cool in my opinion. I make a huge mistake. Like, why did I do this? I just drove out sideways to the enemy AMX 65t. And now I need to be a little bit more careful. The 250mm of penetration with AP of the T100 light tank should usually not be a big of a deal for my turret when I'm standing hull down, but it will be proven otherwise. Right now I can't really spot him as my commander is dead, because the Type 5 heavy killed my gunner and my commander. My commander is back up and I say, you know what? You stupid pancake. Yeah, he was standing there, I hit him, and he penetrates me for 300 or 293 damage through, yeah, not even a weak spot, basically. But yeah, the turret is, how should I say, against the 10 opponents, it's not big, it's not a biggie for the enemies, but against lower tiered opponents, it will be quite a menace. And I also think that when his tank is top tier, it can wreck some faces, because then, and only then, his upper front plate will actually be useful. Otherwise, forget it. Like, yeah, keep on dreaming. I tried to hit the guy into the side. I only heat-check him, sadly, which is annoying because it's so flat and we do no damage. He gets back into cover. We roughly have 2200 damage, which is nice. We stay with our AMX 66t, and I do hope that, or I rather wait for my medkit to come back up again to, well, give our commander the third life, as he died already twice on us. Damn it, dude, why you do this? And yes, I think this tank is also quite vulnerable to, yeah, people dying in him, which is kind of annoying, but, well, I guess it happens if the commander is standing here and you shoot all the way here. There will be damage to this guy. And yeah, the last thing now I am doing, or I am remembering, is that some guy died down there from a Stridswagen S1 or got a lot of damage. So I was like, maybe one of the Stridswagen S1 is hiding up there. Let's have a look. I see that there are palm trees being knocked down. So I was like, yeah, most likely he's there. And to my surprise, he wasn't. So now I'm just waiting for our team to finish the job, spot him for me so we can do one more damaging shot, which would be great to boost our stats a little bit on this tank. We already pulled our weight quite a bit. 413 damage, 11 seconds reload time will be too long for us to finish this guy off, and the game will be over as the T100 Lightweight will get finished by our Stridswagen S1. Nice. A victory in our books. So what did we got for that game? We got a Confederate Medal, 3rd class, 1 bond, wow. And we did most damage in our team, 2770 damage. But sadly no kills, which is, yeah, sad. But hey, we hit our blind shot on the T100 light tank, we did some damage on him. 10 shots, 8 hits, 7 pens. Well, I shot some premium shells, especially at Type 5 heavy. But I think it was quite necessary to actually beat this guy. So, round this tank up. I think it is the worst tank of the grind, or the worst tank of the line, especially just simply because it is not as fast as the T90 turret tank, and the whole armor sucks. Plus the turret armor has much to be desired for. Otherwise, I think you can play with both guns, the 100mm gun, which is also quite good, and the 120mm gun, and get games like this where you can do quite some damage and use that superb penetration rate. But again, I need to point out, later through the line, please do not use the big guns, because they're a waste of experience and they don't really useful. Like, on the tier 9 tank, which we will talk about later, you get the 120mm gun for free. And it's a good gun. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about the video and the tank in general, and I'll talk to you all later.